Okay, so I have 6 pages of notes here to go through, so I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. On the surface, your website looks really, really good. There's just a lot that needs to be optimized. We'll get into all that. So this is probably going to take about an hour and a half. So just think of it as like a movie, I guess, or something. Hopefully you'll find it entertaining. Maybe not entertaining is not the right word. Hopefully you'll find it informative. And it really, the feedback I get is it's almost like a mini SEO course. So I could just do an audit and give you a 20-minute video. Well, actually I probably couldn't, but I could probably save about 30 minutes and not get into a lot of the extra detail. But I like to provide detail on how to do this. And based on our conversation, I think that's kind of what you're looking for. So let's go ahead and start. So the first thing, one ranking, well, I should start off by saying we don't really know all of Google's ranking signals. From time to time, they'll tell us this is a ranking signal, this is a ranking signal. The problem is there's hundreds of ranking signals, and nobody knows for sure how high, what's the word I'm looking for, how strong one ranking signal is as opposed to another ranking signal. But one thing, your domain, from what I could tell, and usually I can pull this right up. For some reason, yours it was having problems getting it, but it looks like your domain's pretty new, meaning your website's pretty new. So, like your domain. So this is the domain. I'm not sure. I don't think we talked about how technical you were, but so GavinHammondRealEstate.com is a domain, and it looks like it's only maybe 2 months old or so. If that's the case, you're in what's called the Google sandbox, and Google's going to analyze, it's going to sit there and kind of observe what's going on really before it starts ranking anything. So domain age, so if you're going up against a real estate company that has been around for 10 years and has a domain age of 10 years, that's one ranking signal that's going to go in their favor, right? So just keep that in mind. If you are new, which I think it is, but like I said, I was having a hard time getting it, which actually has never happened before. But if that is the case, that's going to be a problem. Or it's going to be a limit. It's going to be something that's going to limit you, I should say. So first thing I want to look at is just performance. So we do know performance is a ranking signal. They just rolled something out called the Page Experience Update. It looked at these things called these core web vitals. These are the 3 metrics Google is using to determine how fast a web page is loaded. So largest contentful paint, this has to do with things loading on the screen. Cumulative layout shift has to do with things shifting around on the screen, and blocking time is how long scripts are blocking other scripts. So if you look at your waterfall chart, so these are all the things that are loading on your page. This took 0.2 seconds, under 1/10 of a second. And all these short, so you can see, so this is some JavaScript, some CSS, some JavaScript, some CSS. So this took 0.3 of a second, this JavaScript. You want these little lines. These are all really good. Your problem comes in starting right here with an image. And if you look at all of these are mostly, let me see, images, right? So these images, see how, if I click and see how large it is, the thing is it's not, on your web page, it's not being displayed at that large size. So what you'd want to do, and I'm not going to go into total well, since we had that conversation, let me just show you quickly how I do this. So I just take it, and first of all, I would use SEO-friendly image names and alt text, and Google takes into account when you're posting an image, it looks at the text around it. Now for image SEO, and for text purposes, for ranking just text, web pages, it also looks at image file names, so you want to make sure these are imaged properly. So this could be like New York high-rise apartment, right? And then you put that in the alt text, which is like the image description in the HTML. So we're going to do that, and we're just going to throw it in downloads. I'm going to show in folder. We're going to look at the details of it, see what the size is. So you can see it's 170K, which altogether is actually pretty compressed, but let's see if we can get it smaller. So I loaded up in a program called paint.net. There's multiple ways to do this. I like this. So what you do is you resize it. So it's 1429 by 960. It's probably being displayed closer to 1200, whatever. But let's keep it at the resolution that it's at, or at the size that it's at. So if you go to File, Save As, so we'll call it the same thing, then Save, overwrite it, and as you can see, the image quality here for some reason the image quality went up to 572, so it's like making it even a higher quality, which is kind of strange. But if you change the quality, I can usually get everything down to 30% or so before it starts losing quality. Looks like this one's about 35%, and you can say this gets it down to 100K, right? Now, even better is if you do a save as, and a new image format is called WebP. Save. Take that down to 40%, it's down to 81K. So while that's important, I mean, the larger your web page is, the longer it's going to take to load, right? And so you just want to minimize those load times. That's going to help with your rankings because your website's loading faster. So you ideally want to get this cumulative layout shift down. You can see if you click on it, the shifting is occurring right here, where that top part is being loaded. So it's a menu that's dragging down or something. But that could be delayed because there's a large image loading. You don't really know. You'd have to really just dig into it. Or it could be a coding thing. I noticed you aren't using WordPress. I'm going to pause it real quick while I look at something. Okay, so if you go to builtwith.com, you can put in a website and it tells you all of the, the apps, the programs that are being used at the scripting language. And I noticed here yours is on Squarespace. So I don't know what kind of performance optimization they offer. I generally just do WordPress. But if you want, I mean, one of my main skills is WordPress performance. The principles are the same. It's just in Squarespace, it's a little different, I'm assuming. I've never done any Squarespace optimization. However, if you'd like me to look into it for free, just let me know and I'll have a peek at it. Overall, it loads pretty good, though. But you want to try to get that one metric down to green. It's not really that. In the grand scheme of things, that's probably going to affect the rank, if I had to guess, by like 3% or something. But all of these things add up. And I wanted to look at your Facebook and stuff, but I'm just going to show you here right now. Facebook's actually been down worldwide for like probably about an hour, probably longer than an hour. So that's why I couldn't do that. So we'll get into that though. So this is one guy that I really like for real estate stuff. So this is somebody I would suggest you follow. So you can follow all kinds of digital marketing, SEO people, et cetera, on YouTube, but they're not really specific to real estate, even though it doesn't always have to be. But this guy is really good and does a lot of digital marketing and has really good ideas specifically for real estate. So like these videos get listed. He's going to give you some tips on how to get videos listed. I think that's what it says. 6 videos that get real estate seller leads, right? So that's a good way to get leads. Well, I haven't watched that, but this guy is really good. I've been watching him for a while. Learn how to get views on TikTok, right? And TikTok's a really good platform for getting interest. If you ever go to TikTok, a lot of people think it's for children, and it is, but now there's all kinds of good investment advice. I'm heavily into crypto. I mean, there's a lot of scams on there and stuff, but I've learned a lot about crypto. I've actually learned some interesting things about real estate. I haven't implemented them because it's really, to me, complex, but it's just interesting to learn all this stuff. So, but you'll notice there's a lot of like professional doctors, maybe not firefighters, but from all professions. And it's a good way to get really good brand exposure. It's a good way to get it's increasing your web footprint. The more you're mentioned on the web, that increases, I like to call it your web footprint, but it also, the word Google uses, I think, prominence. It increases your prominence, and they've told us that's a ranking signal. YouTube is a really good way. Like if you could go over, just search for real estate, and then you can look at these suggested keywords. These are things people are searching on, like investing, these are always good. What is it like, the daily, a day in the life of a real estate agent. Make one of these videos because people like this stuff, right? 43,000 views, 177,000 views. Sounds kind of weird, but I mean, I've watched a lot more, wouldn't say crazier things, but things that are just kind of more random. So you can get some ideas there. You can download this Keywords Everywhere extension. So it's called Keywords Everywhere, and it can show you, actually, where did it go? Okay, it doesn't have it here, which I thought it did. But there's extensions you can use, and let me know if you want to know it. It can show you popular keywords related to real estate. I'll show you just one real quick keyword IO. It doesn't just have to be real estate. It can be real estate investing. It can be all kinds of stuff. So you do that, go to YouTube, and these are common things people are talking about. What I like to do is go to the videos, and the ones that are ranking high, they're doing it right. Keep in mind, Google looks at transcriptions. Is that what they're called? Transcriptions, the actual verbiage, the actual text. And then look at the comments. What are people asking that maybe he didn't answer? And then include those in your video. So, I mean, all you need to do is have a phone that you don't need anything fancy. There's a guy I know, if you want, it's a guy I work with who can do a little fancy intro video for you, like the one I'm going to put at the front of this video. It's like a 5-second introduction. You can probably do it for $100 or something. It's not expensive. It's something I would consider doing. So there's a lot to do here. So just don't freak out, and you're not going to be able to do it all. I mean, if you would probably need 2 full-time SEO people to do all this. If you took it on your own, it's going to take months and months and months, maybe even years to knock a lot of this out. So just don't get frustrated when you see all this, because I'm giving you a ton of ideas. You pick and choose what you think's interesting. And then if you do something for 3 months and it's not working, then switch up to something else. That's kind of the beauty of SEO, is not, I guess it's also the downside, is not all things work for all people. You might do something that works for you, but not for a plumber or another real estate agent. Then when you switch to something else, wait 3 months, which is how long I usually wait for Google to pick it up, and that may work for you. So that's that. Now, blogs are really important. I didn't see a blog on your website. So why blogs are really important? It's the way to get people to your website to get that brand exposure. And the traffic begets more traffic, begets more traffic, begets more leads, right? So the more traffic you have to your website for like very common questions people are asking, and I have a whole process for this I can share with you. It takes me 30 minutes to get through it, and I don't want to waste your time with 30 minutes to get through. I'm going to give you a couple ideas on how I do it below, but it's a whole process on how to do this. Basically, you want to write content that people are actually searching on, then you want to make sure you have a decent chance of ranking for that, because you don't want to waste your time, right? And that's generates traffic. And if Google starts to determine that people are going to your website for things related to real estate, then it's going to start to rank you higher when people search for real estate agent New York. And then, of course, in your blog content, you upsell. You put little ads, not spammy ads, but mentions that you're a real estate agent in New York in your content. So blogs are important for topical authority, so things related to real estate. Real estate taxes would be good stuff. If you could do like a real estate tax information hub from around the country, like every state has their own little taxes, that kind of stuff is really good. Calculators, templates, and we'll get into that below, all that stuff. And also from a geographical point of view, right? So you want to focus on things that are New York, and you want to focus things that are on real estate. Because your blog and your content is more likely to show up for somebody searching for your topics if they live in New York, more so than if they live in Minnesota, and vice versa for people that live in Minnesota. So the three ranking factors, as Google says, for Google My Business, for local SEO, I should say, not necessarily just Google My Business, is relevance, proximity, and prominence. Relevant is how relevant are you to the search result. If you're focusing on housing or properties to residential customers. You're not selling, at least that I could see, commercial property, restaurants, factories, etc., right? So if somebody searches for information on commercial real estate, it's a less likely chance you show up. Obviously, you're not going to show up if somebody searches for like pizza near me, right? And then proximity. New York's a huge city. I used to live in Boston. I used to New York, I wouldn't say quite a bit, but I've been there a bit. You know what I mean? So I live in Louisiana, so it's a totally different thing. The proximity is a totally different thing when it comes to here to there. In New York, there's probably 100 real estate agents all within a very small radius. So if somebody, let's just say North Manhattan, wherever that is, I have no idea. Search, and you're in the south side of Manhattan. If somebody in the north side of Manhattan, or like, even a different part, searches for real estate agent near me, and there's a real estate agent in North Manhattan, there's a higher chance they're going to show up because you're in South Manhattan. So that's another factor that is taken into account. Now, relevance and prominence can possibly outweigh proximity, but it is something that's taken into account. And then prominence. Like I said, how prominent are you on the web, right? Do you have your website listed in all these directories? Are you mentioned in magazine articles, which I saw you were, but it's kind of buried, and we'll get into that as well. So that's the 3 factors. So these are just a few metrics. 50% of pages earn at least 1,000 views per month. So if you don't have it, you're going to be losing out on a lot of reviews. But you do have it, a lot of views. You do have it, so that's good. I just wanted to point out the importance of it. 84% of businesses are found with discovery searches, so people aren't searching for your business name, clearly, or your name generally. People will search for your name at times if they have a relationship with you, or perhaps they saw a commercial of you on the television or on the radio. They heard a commercial about you or something. But generally, when it says discovery search, they're searching for real estate agent, New York, or Manhattan, or Brooklyn, or whatever. And then website clicks from GMB are up about 30% from 2018. So people clicking through to your website from your Google My Business profile. And let me grab a sip of water here. Okay, so anytime you're wanting to determine what to do on Google My Business, on Bing Places, on Apple Maps, all those places you want to be in, all those, and even from on-page SEO stuff, you want to see what Google thinks is working. You always want to go look at those top results. What keywords are they using? Are they using imagery, or images, I should say? Are they using videos? Are they using H1s, H2s? All that stuff, whatever they're using, and there's a really cool tool called Through, which I'll get into, kind of repeating myself, and there's other ways to do it too. I'll just show you this one, right? You want to make use of all those things that are working, because Google obviously thinks those are working, right? So why not kind of copy those? Not word for word, but copy those general ideas and guidelines. So you want to look at your competition, because those are your competitors, obviously. What are they doing right? The top local results. So what are the local results that are ranking high in New York? It may not even be your competition. It may be other people that aren't really your competition. And then top ranking results in big markets. So obviously you're probably in one of the two biggest markets. My assumption would be New York. My second assumption would be LA. So I like to look at the top. When I say top results, we're talking top 3 to 5 results. We're not talking top 25 results. So I would like to look at the top 5 results in LA, the top 5 results probably in Chicago, and then since you're in New York, you don't have to do New York. So those are my 3 cities I look at: West Coast, Mid-America, East Coast, New York. So keep that in mind as we go along. That's how you can determine how you want to structure things. So Bright Local is a really cool tool. Just go to brightlocal.com. You can use it for free without a credit card. So you can just do the free trial. And why I would use it is I would do the audit with it and get an idea of what it thinks you need to improve upon. And then, I mean, if you buy it, it can help you with reviews. It can help you with all kinds of cool stuff. But I like to use as many free tools as possible. This is, I don't think you need to use this, because you don't get reviews every day, right? You don't have, you don't run an enterprise business. So this is something but I would get the free one because the audit's really cool. And I'll show you the Moz. I'm going to do a Moz local scan below, and it's similar, but it's a free version, so it's not as detailed. So this is something I would consider at least using the free version and getting good information. And then, obviously you can cancel after the free period if you want, but it is a really cool tool. Okay, so this might be a problem. You might want to consider not using a mailing address. So what I mean by this is in Google My Business, in your info, you can not have an address, and I'm not going to get rid of it because I don't want things to get screwed up. You can only use a city and state. Why this could be a problem, and if you'd like me to research this more, let me know, and I certainly will, because you're not really an independent, you don't have your own independent real estate agency. You are part of a bigger company, and if you go click on this, you can see at your address it lists Compass Real Estate, which you work for, but Bruce Burns Crystal, Team Bonafonte at Compass. So these are all different, I guess, agents at Compass is my assumption, and that makes perfect sense. This could be confusing Google, right? Because you don't want multiple address. You don't want the same address to show up for multiple businesses. So I might consider getting rid of the address altogether and just using service areas. It essentially does pretty much the same thing. You lose that on a little bit of that, what was that? I can't even think of the word right now. Proximity. But it's something I would consider. It'd be something to test at least for 3 months. Well, I guess what I would do first, hopefully you have a baseline of the metrics you've been getting. And again, that's another thing we'll go over below when we're show you how to track stuff. And then perhaps if you don't, let's wait 3 months and let's see, change it, wait 3 months, see what happens, and you can always change it back. It's an evolving thing. This is an evolving thing. SEO, unfortunately, isn't something you can do once and forget it effectively. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. So Google My Business, a way to rank high in Google My Business is to spam the keyword you're doing in your business name. So Bogard, New York team, Compass Real Estate, top real estate broker. So this is actually, I'm assuming, people that you know, or at least they're within the same company. Their business name is not Board New York team. It may be Board New York team, Compass Real Estate, but it certainly isn't top real estate broker. So what you want to do, so you don't want to allow them to cheat the system. Isaac Rosenberg team. So I think this is probably the standard. The team and then Compass Real Estate. That seems pretty legitimate. But it doesn't surprise me. Somebody put top real estate broker and their business name is ranking high. So what you do, you don't want to allow these people to get an advantage. You come here and do suggest and edit, change their name, and hopefully it takes. If it doesn't, you can reach out to Google through other methods and get it removed. Because there's no reason these people should be able to cheat and you can't. Okay, keep your socials up to date. So you're doing, I couldn't check Facebook, obviously. Let me see if it's up yet. And it's not. So the ones, I went down to the bottom and saw your social. And social is just annoying. I mean, it's just something you got to do. I don't remember what that was. Your LinkedIn looks good. And there's no doubt, I mean, there's no doubt you're not at the stage where you're going to have to convince people that you're legitimate, which some real estate companies are, especially ones that are starting out, based on the properties that you're selling and your experience and all that stuff, and being in magazine articles and whatnot. So Compass, okay, so that's your summary on the Compass website. So your Instagram's down too. Interesting. So let me just go to Twitter. So you're doing a good job here. Twitter's annoying because a real estate agent is never going to get activity. No comments, no retweets, but it's a signal. So I think you're doing the right thing. Just posting stuff, posting your properties. This is where you would share your content. I like to take screenshots of positive reviews, put those on socials. Now, you can use it Buffer. There's a tool called Buffer, which use the free version. And you just basically type it once and it posts out to Facebook and it posts out to Twitter. You can also do Instagram, but it gets a little weird last I checked, and I wouldn't do it. Well, I haven't checked in months, but you can use those for free. So that will save you a little bit of time. That way you just post it in once and it goes out to both. So, I mean, there's just really not much to do in Twitter with real estate. Now, Facebook's a whole different thing. I mean, there's something that's called Go Where They Are. So where are your clients discussing things? You want to get in those Facebook groups. You want to get in those subreddits. But that's all very time consuming, right? Who has that time to do that stuff? You want to put what you have in front of those people wherever they are. So that's that. So like I said, even if nobody clicks on your Twitter profile, it is a ranking signal, we think, because it shows that you're active. It shows Google that you're up to date, you care about your business, etc. So it's something I would do. Okay, so moving on to Google My Business. So one thing probably everybody I've ever worked with at the beginning doesn't do is come to this home page and look through here and see what's new. So you wanted to make sure when COVID started, it said, make sure you update your serviceability, business hours, and stuff for COVID-specific configuration information. There's another one here. Your business profile is not complete. You need to add your logo. This is something that got pushed out in the last couple months. Connect in real time with video. That would be perfect. I would think it would be perfect for what you do. So that you need to stay on top of it. I go here once a month for my clients, and I just make sure that there's nothing new on here. You might be wondering, why do I do it for all clients? Because the things that show up here perhaps could be different for plumbers, for real estate agents, for banks, for restaurants, etc. And I don't think I've really seen that other than one minor time, but it doesn't mean it's not going to start being that way, because things are always changing. And it literally takes, 15 seconds once a month? You can check it once a week if you wanted to, but the time is the generally the strained resource. Okay, service. I take so many notes I forget what I wrote down. Add service description. Okay, so this is not ideal. In your services, let me see what I have next. Let me see. Okay, good. In your services, you don't have service descriptions. There's something called use what Google gives you. If Google allows you to put service descriptions, you want to fill these service descriptions up with photography in what you do. Like, what kind of photography are you doing? Is this real estate photography? Is this, like photography, outdoor photography? Obviously, that's not it. But you have to think about, anytime you're doing anything from an SEO point of view, what type of keywords do you think, and you can do keyword research to figure this out, what type of keywords do you think people are using? And I can show you how to do that if you'd like, just let me know. What type of keywords do you think people are using to get to your website and your Google My Business profile? That's the stuff you want to put in here. You want in your service description, you want to use all those keywords, and you also that's topical stuff. And then again, it goes back to the geographical stuff. You want to make sure you mention your geographical information. So outdoor photography in New York. Now I would do like 3 or 4 sentences. I wouldn't just do that one sentence. So that's important. Okay. Now, what's important, in most people, all clients I have, I think all of them ever, don't do this properly, because any service you mention here needs to be mirrored on your web page. So floor plan, that's not really descriptive, so what does that really mean? It may mean something in your industry that I just don't know about. Clearly, and obviously I know what a floor plan is, but what are you doing, like floor plan construction, floor plan, is there something called floor plan design, floor plan consulting? Like, are you actually drawing the floor plans, floor plan design? But any service or product, and you don't have products at this time, I think I checked that. Oh, okay, this is I don't know why I didn't think about this. Yeah, and these listing your real estates is a really good idea for products. So at a minimum, you're showing Google that you care about your business, and it makes sense. They're going to display businesses that are using their tools. I can't prove that, but it makes total sense. So do this, product. I would just take the first few sentences from the description on the wait a second. Courtesy of Nest Seekers. So, okay, I didn't notice this before. So this is, here you would want to link directly to that page of that property. And I would try to, so I would put the first 3 sentences of the description on the web page here. So these are all really good keywords under keyword opportunities, and it's helping Google understand like what this stuff is, right? It seems like it's easy for this stuff to work, but if you look into AI, it's gotten so good, but it seems that things that seem obvious aren't always obvious to AI. And there's tools you can use to like see what Google thinks something is. Also, the more of the stuff you have, the more screen real estate it takes up for your business on the right side, on that knowledge pane or knowledge panel, whatever it's called. So it's like a free advertisement. So all of these products should have corresponding landing pages. I like to call them our product pages, but it's not, BitHouse isn't really a product per se, but specific, it needs to go to the landing pages for each of these properties. So I don't think these would be properties actually. I don't think I would put these as... Yeah, these kind of seem like you're trying to game it a little bit. I wouldn't put these as property. Because, yeah, these aren't products, I should say. These are more services, but I wouldn't put them there. I would delete those, and I would just fill out your services completely. And that's that. And link to the proper one and use everything Google gives you. Now, in info, the same thing. If you go to info and go to the bottom here, Google gives you, go down, 750. Okay, you're using 742. I thought you were using a lot less. I must be thinking of something else. Let me scan through this real quick. Okay, this is really good. It talks about you, which is very interesting, and it's very good. That shows you're like legitimate and you know what you're doing, but it doesn't use the proper keywords for your business. Doesn't use real estate. It doesn't use... So think about the keywords, are people buying ranch homes, high-rise apartments? Are the people buying... I can't think of the other types of residential properties, but you get the idea. This is the stuff you want to include in here. Also, you want to include all the keywords for your locations. That's the kind of stuff you want to include in here, rather than information about you. There's a different place for information about you on your web page, and it's on your... It was here somewhere. But the website looks really, really good. It looks aesthetically really, really good. Is it Let's Connect? Okay, I don't remember where it was, but I saw stuff about you, and that's good. So now that I see, it's not obvious to go to see who you are. And since you have a lot of really strong credentials and a lot of... Oh, here it is. Let me see where this goes. About. Okay, so I would put an about up here. For sure. Okay, create landing page, we just said that. Use keywords that people are actually searching on. So that goes back to, like I said, ranch home. And you may not be doing ranch homes, right? Whatever the appropriate types of properties. high-rise apartment buildings, etc., etc. And that's keyword research. That's how you'd figure all that out. So the best thing to do, one thing to do, is just go, whatever you're doing, high-rise apartments, go to web pages that are ranking for that and see what keywords they're using. And those are ones you want to focus on. So let's say, like I have this blog that I really don't update it much anymore. Let me make sure we don't get a, it's basically, I don't know why it's slow. That's not good. Interesting. So why, it's just like a lot of random questions. So why aren't there basements in the South? Now, obviously you're not writing about basements, but I just want to show you. Actually, this one probably isn't that good of an idea. Let's find something a little more technical. So why is it called coronavirus? Ideally, you want to write content as things are getting a lot of interest, you know, in the media and that are trending on Twitter. Then you post a link to your content within Twitter in a hashtag that's trending. So there's a really cool tool. Actually, I need to do it here because I have this extension not available in incognito mode. Okay, so there's this text optimizer here. This is free. It's a limited version. You click on text optimizer, and what it's going to do, it's going to analyze this page. I don't know why it's still loading up here. I mean, it's slower for the person if they're logged in, but usually it loads like in 2 seconds. Let me try one more time real quick. Log out. Okay, and if this doesn't work, I'm gonna pause it real quick. Okay, so that's that. So it has a bunch of keywords. So if you were writing something on coronavirus, you would go here, text optimizer. It's not loading. Let me try one more time. Interesting. So it pops up, and what it does is it's the first time that's ever happened, is it analyzes the keywords on here, and it suggests a lot of keywords that are semantically, or that it thinks would fit with these keywords that are on this page. So it helps you find out keywords you may not be thinking of. So maybe you're writing about real estate, and maybe it's common that the word fireplace, for example, it appears with these words over here commonly. So that's a keyword you'd want to include. So this is the kind of stuff, keywords you want to focus on. Keywords you're focusing on towards the top of the page in the H1s and the H2s. Okay, so that's what I was saying, the H1s and the H2s. So a good way to get H1, so those are like headers, right, is real estate. Looking at these, people also ask, so what exactly is real estate? If you were writing about real estate, these are like good H1s and H2 examples. Now text optimizers popping up, oddly enough, which is kind of crazy. See, brokers in state industry. So this is comparing it to the text on this Google result. So from this one, maybe real estate license is something you don't have, right? Estate broker. So these are things you want to focus on. So there's all kinds of ways to get this, and I'll go into it a little more below. I noticed when I looked around here, you have these pages, and this is called Screaming Frog. It's a site spider. You have these pages for Greenwich, which is good. And I'm assuming somebody that does SEO knew what they were doing and did this on purpose because it's trying to build that geographical authority. However, there's no mention of it like area served. At a minimum, I would have them in the footer down here, and say proudly serving, or, you know, real estate available in, or just list them. You know, the top 20 cities that are listed in your info when you go back to service areas. Chelsea, Upper East Side, Upper West Side, West Village, Brooklyn. I would include all these on there. So you don't want to be spamming them. I wouldn't probably do more than like 15 or 20. So let's say the Flateron, I can't pronounce that, so let's just do Soho. I know Soho. If you're selling one property here per year and these others you're selling like 5 or 6, just leave that one out. You know what I mean? It's no big deal. But you want to get these mentioned on your website. So Google can help understand what this thing is. And also, when you build those pages out, that geo page, it's good to have a few paragraphs. Let me go back there real quick. Instead of just rambling on about it, let me show you what I mean. Let me close some of these. See if Facebook's up yet. It's probably not a bad thing for society that Facebook's down, to be perfectly honest with you. But I would include, so you have these, you already have the structure of lifestyle, good. The market, good. I would include 2 or 3 blurbs about points of interest. So let's say, you know, Madison Square Garden's right here. Have Madison Square Garden and have a couple blurbs here, because that's really helping Google understand how these things all relate together. It seems kind of hokey, but it all really does work. Yeah, that's what that means, point of interest. Okay, so find where these landing page keywords are being used on your site. So what this means is anywhere you have a blog post or anything. See, these are just your services. Let's go over here. Where was it? Properties, home valuation, neighborhoods. Okay, there's the neighborhoods. My bad. I totally overlooked that. So that's good. So, but I still would probably, I probably wouldn't put it in the footer. That's okay. So if you have NoHo, never heard of NoHo. So when you mention the word real estate in here, like real estate agent, that needs to link to your real estate agent page, not your about page. So you don't really have a good real estate agent page just about real estate. So you'd want to link, so a better example, so you do need to have that as a landing page, because that's something you have up here. Real estate agency. So let's say you have a blog post on home valuation. In that blog post, you want to make sure you link to, anytime you mention home valuation, link to this home valuation page. Why is that important? That's important because it's a signal to Google. If the word home valuation is mentioned 10 times on your website and they all point back to this, that's a strong signal to Google that this is a very important page for this keyword, home valuation. So it's gonna increase the chance you're gonna show up when somebody searches for home valuation in New York. Now that keyword is not really that specific. I understand what it's doing when I went to it, obviously, what's my property worth, but it isn't very descriptive just from the title itself. And I would include a lot more keywords on here as well. Are you trying to find I can't think of the word, the value of your property? Then put a few paragraphs, right? And I would put lookup tool, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I just kind of went over this. For keywording opportunities, use, so Boston, well, for you probably don't want to see any of that. New York, since I lived in Boston, I'm a big Red Sox fan. And we actually play you on Tuesday, so that'll be pretty interesting. So who's the most famous New York? So if you're writing on the New York Yankees, these are things you might want to consider. Also, there's extensions called Keywords Everywhere here. You can kind of look over to the right. Yankee rumors, so you can write something, have a section on rumors perhaps, and this is all just there's all kinds of places to get this stuff. Hats, these aren't pretty good. These aren't very good. And then at the bottom there's some stuff here. So these are all ways to get keywords. You can also like search Quora, because people are actually asking those questions. There's a website called Answer the Public, which I think I'll get to below, that can help too. So there's all kinds of really good stuff. So let me see what I did here. Great example. Like I said, I take so many notes I forget what I do. Okay, so this is great. This is clickbaity stuff in a good way. From a real estate point of view, this is what people are searching on. They're not necessarily searching on, they are searching on real estate agent, New York, but these are the questions. I like to call these the 5 W's. So what are they? Who, what, when, why, what's the 5th one? I guess how, but that's not a W. But that's the kind of blog content you want to create on your website. But look at all these really good keywords that's being used. So if you go to SEO Quake, page info, the seller, the purchase, the deal. So these are common keywords. There's actually nothing really that sticks out here of the deal, homes for sale, contingency. So I would make sure I'd use the word contingency. Let's see if text optimizer pops up. Okay, good. It's doing it this time. I don't know why it wasn't doing it before. So this has a lot of good keywords on it. So these are some other keywords you could use when you're creating your blog content. And I have a content guy that does it for me. He can do content probably for like $75 a page if you're interested in that. Now, you don't need to write content every day, but it's good to have one once a week, once every couple of weeks, at a minimum once a month, so at least you're putting something up. And people aren't going to be able to, the more good content you put up there for actual things people are searching on, the more and more people are going to find out about you. The more higher likelihood is they're going to share a link to that. And all those links, they're called backlinks, into your website helps. Because all of those links into your website tells Google that your website's really good in its quality. So keep going. So through, let me just show you what through is real quick. It's amazing that it's free. I actually helped the guy with some, he's German, so I helped him with some language stuff. So I'm kind of proud of that. Let's do this. So let me get one of your keywords. What was it? Home valuation. Let's do, some of these are more, let's go to services, are a little bit more specific. Not quite as generic. So let's do real estate photography. So real, I'm gonna pause it while I sign in. So I'm gonna sign in up here. And you get 10 free searches per month, which is more than enough if you're not an agency. So let me pause it. Okay, then you click on scrape up here at the top right, then search for your keyword. So real estate photography, then scrape the SERP. So anytime you see SERP, S-E-R-P, that means search engine results page. Close that. While that's doing that, let me look through here, check through Google Posts. So Google Posts are really important. It's basically like blog posts for your Google My Business entry, and I'll go over yours here in a second. So I don't want to forget. So let me go back here. So you can see, these are the top results. Okay, these are paid results. Let me see if I can zoom in. So these are the topics coming from the search engine. So these are all keywords: photo, estate, real estate. So these are all pretty obvious, honestly. York, it's not really that good. Visual, that's not. These are all pretty. Let's go to 2 words: real estate, photography, York, real estate agent. Okay, those aren't really that good. Titles. So these are common. These are the titles of the web pages, and these are the common words in the titles. So you'd want to use a more long tail keyword because this is pretty generic, right? So I didn't think that I thought we would get better keyword opportunities, but you can see this is all very generic. So you'd want to use something more like keyword real estate, photography, space, whatever it is. Building or something. So these are the headings, H1s, H2s that are showing up in the results. So these are things you'd want to focus on. And you get the idea. So there's all kinds of stuff you can gather from through it. And I actually have a video for this on my YouTube channel if you want to see how to use it. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you can also see here, no knowledge graph, no answer box. The average word count is 1,400 words. So if you're writing a content piece, you want it to be right around 14. I like to increase it a little bit. I like to do about 16. 22 images. This isn't totally accurate, but keep that in mind, etc., etc. So there's all kinds of ways to do it. And I can get into a lot more detail if you want. So Google Posts. So Google Posts are really important because this is the stuff that's going to show up on your search result on the right side in the knowledge pane. It's also a good signal to Google that you're keeping up to date with things. Each post lasts 7 days. You stopped around June 7th, so this is stuff you just want to keep doing. I think it's a really good idea. You don't have that you run out of ideas, but you're getting new listings all the time. So listing your listings. I would put the listings here as opposed to the products. Now that I think about it, that makes more sense. And then anytime you do a blog topic, all that stuff, right? So let's go into, well, you get the idea. You get the idea. So you might have looked ahead and say, why am I talking about LGBTQ friendly? Now, the reason is, I can't imagine you're not LGBTQ friendly, but if you go to, where was it, here, these attributes, so you're not, let's see, now at the bottom, okay, do you have a gender neutral bathroom? Right here, right? So this is why this could be, so you might be wondering, okay, that's not really a big deal, and it's not a big deal. But Google knows everything about us based on what we search on, probably based on what we talk into our phone, or definitely what we talk into our phones. So let's say somebody that's searching for a home is, you know, LGBT, you know, gay, or, you know, whatever their preference is. That there's a higher likelihood, it makes sense that there would be a higher likelihood your result will show up because you specifically said you're friendly to that community, right? That doesn't say you're not, you know, obviously, but it's another thing that would help. So, I mean, it's not like you have to spend 20 minutes, you know, a week maintaining it. It's just one click. So that's something I definitely would do. So this is something you just want to check once a month. And this, any new ones would be on the home page, like I mentioned before. Okay, moving along. We're at 44 minutes. So let me take a sip of water. Okay, so I made a note here. Oh, online appointments. I don't know why. Oh, I know why that's there. In your attributes, you mentioned you offer online appointments, and I don't think you do. Here, service options. So, if you don't put that there. If you do, on the online appointment info, there's a link here for online appointments, right here. You would link to it. What a lot of people do is keep the online appointments and just link to your contact page. You don't want to link to your main website. So, for example, when you're doing advertising, like local ads as we discussed, you never want to advertise to your main homepage, You want to and you don't want to just say advertise when somebody types in real estate agent New York. Because what if that person is wanting to research how to be a real estate agent in New York? You don't want to pay for that ad. You want it to be, your advertisements to be extremely niche. So first of all, you want it to only show up to people in New York, right? You don't want people that are in China, your ad showing up to people in China. Now, may they buy property in New York? I mean, that's probably not uncommon for Chinese. So maybe China's not a good example. I don't know. You know all that market research. But you want it to show up for... You'd want to, let me go back to my original thought. So you do real estate. So I would advertise on real estate agent Soho, New York. And then in that advertisement should link to your Soho page. So you never want to and there's all kinds of reasons for that I could get into, but you never want to advertise to your homepage. So let's see what I linked here. Do not remember. Yeah, so this is pointing out you have a page on Compass Concierge. You're going to need a lot more. This is what we call thin content. You're going to need at least 500 words describing a lot more of what you do on this page. Because think about, let's say, and I have no idea. So concierge service. So let's say concierge service offers free landscaping. Like I have no idea. But if they do, you, instead of just keeping it generic, that you would want to mention that. I mean, obviously it doesn't do landscaping. I'm just thinking of any keyword. But you want to make sure you mention landscaping on this page, because that's what somebody would be searching on. So landscaping concierge service or whatever. Now, I get that you don't concierge has nothing really to do with landscaping, but that's the first word that came to my mind. I was thinking about real estate, and that's what popped in my head. So how do you find those keywords? Go back to the top SERP results. Look at people also ask. Look at this is not what I wanted to do. Answer the public. I just typed that wrong. Let me just show you answer the public real quick. It's really, really powerful. It's one of my favorite websites. So if you go here, so if you search for this, real estate photography, and you hit space, this is called Google Auto Suggest. This is what people are commonly searching for after this keyword. So if you go to answer the public, you get 2 free searches per day. And if you need another one, the right thing would be is to buy it, but if you don't want to buy it, you could also use a VPN or something and a different browser. So, based on this keyword, these are all a lot of the auto-suggest things that are popping up. Is real estate photography hard? That would be a really good blog post. So how do you know? How do you know? That's difficult to write that. At least for me, I can't come up with all that stuff. Google that. Look at the top 5 results and just kind of take what they're doing, combine all of it. If there's comments where people are asking questions about the article, include those comments, include those questions, incorporate it into your content. Go look at this question on YouTube. What are the comments there, right? Reddit. What are they talking about in subreddit? So this is all kinds of really good stuff. And so you're building up that topical authority on real estate photography. Okay, we went over that. I think that's actually a duplicate, so let's get rid of that. So citations. So citations are basically like places you're listed, directory listings. Whoops, oh, that's not linking. Anyway, so these are all easy backlinking opportunities. This is increasing your web footprint. This is just, you need to make sure you're mentioned like on, I don't know if Yelp does real estate agents, but all these directories, right? All these directories. You're definitely in Google My Business. I don't think you're in Apple Maps. You're not in Bing. Why Bing's important? So Bing is Microsoft search engine. Probably gets about 5 to 10% of all search traffic. A common one that's growing more is Bing is used as the default for Amazon Alexa, right? So let me show you this. So I did a scan. This is a free scan. Now this is the one I mentioned above. Bright Local has a much more comprehensive scan if you pay for it. This is going to give you an idea. So this is your name, your quote unquote your business. It's kind of a weird thing because you're not a business. You're an agent at a business, but you have your own Google My Business profile. It's kind of tricky. I would separate myself from a listing perspective, from an SEO perspective, from the company name. So this is going to look in all these directories. So you can see all these really very small directories. Nobody wants to, I mean, I have a person that could get you in all these directories for like $100. Is it worth it? Maybe. I wouldn't waste much time with it. It looks like it's hung up. Let me pause it real quick. Okay, so it's done running. Now, it looks like you see it can't get to Facebook, and it says it can't find you in Google Maps. If you just created your Google Maps listing within the last month, that might be why. But the problem is you're not listed at all in Bing. You're not listed in the Chamber of Commerce, according to this. Now, this isn't always 100% accurate. Easy Locals, you probably want to get in some of these. Like Judy's book doesn't make sense. But the main ones, at a minimum, you want to focus on are Apple Maps, Bing, Yahoo Local, Yelp, if necessary. Then any niche. So if you do, from your laptop, just real estate agents near me, whoops, you're going to see a lot of directories pop up. Well, normally they do. Okay, Home Light is one, right? You could and just search for, let me just show you, real estate. So we'll go here. So basically, these are directories specific to. Actually, those aren't. That must be down here. Here we go. So, are you on Zillow, Real Estate AU? That doesn't make any sense for you. Obviously, VRBO. You probably recognize a lot of these. So you'd want to consider, and you can see the DA, the Domain Authority. So these are really popular. Domain Authority is between 0 and 100. Anything over 50, you probably want to be in, if it makes sense. Like Home Finder, probably want to be in there. I don't know. So you just got to look at all these other ones. Right? Now, the key is however it's listed, in all these, the business name needs to be exactly the same, the URL needs to be exactly the same, the phone number needs to be exactly the same. So don't put your office phone number in one and then use your cell phone in another, or like an address. Don't put third floor in one, then number 3 on another one or whatever, because that decreases the confidence that Google has that it's displaying an accurate result. So things need to be 100% consistent, or you actually can run into problems. It's a little crazy, but it is. So GMB extensions. So these are some extensions I use for research. So real estate, not there. Google Maps. So real estate agent near me. Go to Google Maps. So there's GMB Explorer. So GMB is Google My Business. GMB Crush, and there's GMB Everywhere. So I'm sorry, GMB Everywhere, GMB Crush, not Explorer. GMB Everywhere, GMB Crush, and then there's Plepper, P-L-E-P-E-R. So based on this search, these are the most common categories used by the top businesses, and you are actually using agency, agents, consult, consultant. So you're using 3 agency. I don't think so. These I might consider adding a 4th. So what you want to do is look at the top results. Look at your competitors. You can see here, this is from GMB Everywhere. Which ones are they using? Are you in property investment? Are you real estate agency, real estate appraiser? You might be an appraiser, right? So you want to mimic the top results. That's what that means. Now you can also do these really detailed basic audits, review audits, to look at how many reviews they have, posts they have. Because if they're doing posts every 3 days, that's what you want to aim for. Can you do one every 3 days? Probably not, but at least you have an idea of what your competition's doing. So this is from GMB Crush. So I clicked on that search now, and it says we are crushing at the bottom right. So you don't want to touch anything. So I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to get a sip of water while it's going. Because if you move your mouse, since this is scraping. I don't know if you're a developer or anything, but it's not using what's called the API. It's not doing it behind the scenes. It's actually emulating you on your laptop looking through all this stuff. So let me get a sip of water.
Okay. And see, I would hit pause here, but it could mess it up. I think we're good. Okay, so we see here. Oh, I was working with the company in Germany the other day, so it was looking. So I'm not going to do it again because it takes time. But this was looking through results from Mainz, Germany. If this is from GMB Crush, if you want to do it for you, you would select your local location, right? So this shows you the titles, the categories of the top companies, their average rating, average reviews. So one thing you're doing reviews, you're not getting enough of them, and you're not responding to all of them, which is a problem. But if all your top ranking ones have 120 reviews and you have 30, you're gonna have to up your game. Now this is weird. It should have looked at the top 10 results and give you information on the top 10 results, and it didn't. But hopefully you get the idea. So this is the description. These are the review attributes. So these are the keywords that. This is a very new tool. It's been out for, I think, 3 weeks, so it might be a little buggy. It was working yesterday, so I have no idea. Post count is 9. Post count in the last 90 days is 0. And so I'll show you the review attribute. Let me just show you now before I forget. So if you go back, let's see if I can go back. Okay, let's do real estate agent near me. So this time it should do Baton Rouge. Let's go to maps. And you skip the ones that are advertisements, and it doesn't look like there are advertisements here. So 144 reviews. Click on it. If you go down the review, see these words that are highlighted: staff, quality people, deal, service. So these are the keywords in the reviews that Google thinks are useful is not the proper word, that are helpful, that are relevant. Relevant's the better word. So these, I would include this in my description. We have a helpful staff. We are filled with quality people, whatever. We always have good deals and high quality service. So these are keywords I would put in where they fit in my services. These are keywords I would put in my business info description, and these are keywords I would focus on my web page. So you do that for the top 5 or 10 results and see which ones Google thinks are relevant. So again, this is Plepper, P-L-E-P-E-R. And the other two are GMB Everywhere. So these are Chrome extensions. And the other one is, let me see if I can do a review audit real quick to show you. Okay, this is the same thing. It's scraping. This hopefully won't take as long. So this is actually going through gathering information on the reviews for this one business. Okay, I'm sorry. The button I clicked on before, not this time, the last one, that only does do one result. I said there should have been multiple there. That only does do one. So this is a review audit for this company. You can see they're steadily getting reviews over time. This is a healthy growth of website traffic, of any type of result. It's not a hockey stick, so it's not, let me show you this. You probably know what that means. But it's not hockey sticking. It's not like doing this, this, which is totally artificial. This is a good healthy growth. This is kind of what you're going to have to compete against. So let me go back here. If you want to get information on all of them, GMB, which one is it? Crush puts this grab to top, and I'm not going to do it because it's. Well, let me see if I can get it. Sometimes it takes under 10 seconds. And this is going to get some good information on the top 10 results. I think it's top. Actually, it might be top 20. Like I said, the tool just came out. Top 20. So look, average rating, number of reviews. So looking at these, I just kind of in my head, 73, 144. It's no coincidence the top 2 have a lot of reviews. So these, looks like at a minimum, you probably need to get up to the 50, 60 review category. Now there's always outliers, and next week you type this might be result 6 or 7 or whatever. Google's always moving things up and down, trying to figure out what actually is accurate. And these people might be doing really good on-page SEO. Actually, this is strange. She lives on my street. This is like 4 houses from me. That's really bizarre. So click-through rate. So this is the average percent of people that click on this result when it comes up in Google Maps. For some reason, it didn't get the click-through rate here, but you can see 45% of the people that see... Oh, this is an ad. That's right. Okay, I'm sorry. So the first result gets clicked on 45% of the time. The second result gets clicked on 25% of the time. And the third, 4.52, and it generally goes down from there. So where those results are... I believe, I don't think they're on the Google Maps specifically. I believe they are pulling from, this is called the map pack. They're probably coming from right here. So you can see how critical it is to get in those top 3. I mean, that's where you're going to get, that's where generally 70 to 80, maybe not, yeah, about 70 to 80% of the clicks are coming from. Moving along, so what are we on? Page 3 of 8. It does get quicker as we go along, so didn't mean to put a dash there. Okay, mention those categories on your homepage. Kind of went over that. Add a short name. Actually, you did that. That's GMB. You have that. No big deal. Special are your hours accurate? And then your special hours. Like you probably should have had COVID hours. You probably have Christmas hours. Go add those in Google My Business. You pop it back up here. It's in the info section. Right here. Let me get more hours, special hours, etc. Let me see something I just noticed. 2009. Okay. Went over the appointment link, geotag photos. So you're not doing photos, which are really, so basically this would just be, what I would do is just photos of properties. And all of your properties, the ones I looked at, are very, very impressive. I live in Louisiana. I'm looking to buy a cabin on a swamp. So it's not that impressive, right? Yours are these gigantic multi-million-dollar buildings and stuff. I mean, it's totally, to me, it's very interesting to look at, and it's very impressive. So I would focus, it's really going to stick out. Make sure you stop doing photos on the 7th. I think I mentioned this earlier. Do that. Also, wait, that's post. That's why photos. These are good. Here's your logo. See, okay, 2 weeks ago, these are actually... Well, that's right. I remember seeing the sync because I looked at it from here and it looked like it was dirty. You know what I mean? So I clicked on it and I go, okay, that's actually really cool. So I did look at these. So this is good. You're doing a pretty good job of... I would like to see inside as well, but this is really cool. If you're selling real estate in these buildings, that's just crazy. Somebody that, like, is somebody that lives in the South, I guess. But I lived in Boston, so I get it. But it is still pretty cool that you sell all these very high-quality luxury properties. And so geotagging, that means in the geotag, in the metadata of the image, you can put like, the website URL, all that stuff. That just helps give Google extra context. I would definitely do that. And then videos are really, really good with real estate agents. And up here, they also have videos in 360. You can do 360 views. You can do this with your camera. You do have 360, okay. Videos, you do have these, but you stop doing them. So something another thing, just what I would do, anytime you go to a property,
Just take your camera out, film for about 15 to 20 seconds. I mean, you could do more. Do that and just pop over here and upload it. You can get a virtual assistant from like, and I can link you to one if you want, that lives like in Singapore or something, and they don't make a lot of money. For them, it's a good living, but you know, for me and you, if somebody in America that has a higher wage standard, it's not. Bottom line is what I'm trying to say is you're not going to be out a lot of money. You could just quickly email this video to them and say, could you put this on Google My Business, right? So that's that. And we went over the image, the SEO friendly images. Went over that, and then metadata. Okay, that's good. Then the drones. I find a lot of, specifically commercial real estate, the drone stuff is really, really big, and it gets a lot of attention. So that's something, if you're interested in doing, it's something I would consider. And what they do is they just get a drone, they go fly it up themselves. Makes more sense for commercial real estate because you're not dealing with, you know, maybe you probably have dozens of properties at a time. They probably have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, I would say they're looking at. So it's not really it's time consuming. So messaging. I don't know if you're doing messaging because you have to get, it doesn't say if it's enabled or not. Basically download their app. You know what? As of, I forgot, a few weeks back, you can now get the messages here. On your laptop. Up until then, you had to get them on your phone. So what this is if somebody searches for your... This is a Mexican restaurant near me. It's basically, if somebody searches for your the knowledge panel over here comes up on the right side with your business name. On mobile, I think it's only mobile, at least it was last I checked, there's going to be a button that says message. This is going to allow people to message you. Now, you don't want to do it if you're not going to respond because Google will remove it, and I'm sure that's going to help hurt your ranking. But you want to give people as many ways to contact you as possible. That's why live chat is so big, and I'll show you that below. Okay, questions and answers. So if you go to a listing, you can't do this from the back end. But what I would do is go to your listing, pull it up, and go to CL Answers a Question and ask questions. This is where you want to put your frequently asked questions. Again, it's keywording opportunities. It's going to save phone calls. It gives people more information about what you do. It's a signal to Google that you're up to date and you actively want to, make your presence as spending time making your presence as legitimate. Legitimate isn't the right word. As updated as possible, let's say. And then I would add all the questions here into an FAQ on your website and then use something called FAQ schema, which is going to give you a higher chance whatever, it doesn't matter. Taco South to get you up in position 0 up here. And in these snippets, right? Snippets, never can remember. Well, there's those questions that pop up top too. Like, oh, here they are, right. Right, so that's by using schema. Schema is something that it helps Google better understand what, like this is a video. I am a real estate agent. This is a recipe, etc., etc. FAQ is saying this is a question, right? So let me pause it real quick. Okay, I wanted to pull up the schema checker at schema.org. So I did it for your website, and you see you don't have any schema configured. So you just want, the basic schema you definitely should use is on the home page. You want to say, I am a local business. Let me do this. Real estate. This is not hard to do at all. Whoops. So you can do a schema for real estate listings, and I totally forgot about that one. Then real estate agent. I think that's the only one. Apartment, rectangle. So all these are pretty. And there's a hierarchy to these. Schema home, schema home. Okay. So this is the main one here from the home page. You want to implement the schema to tell Google, I'm a real estate agent. This is the address of my business. This is my phone number. This is my social channels. This is my website, etc., etc. Websites that have schema have, I think it's about a 30% higher click-through rate. Click-through rate meaning 30% more. They get 30% more clicks. So that is that. Moving along, we're at page 4 of 8. Okay. Now reviews are critical. You have reviews, but you're not responding to all of them, and in my opinion, not effectively responding to them. Especially, it's not like you're like a taco store. A taco restaurant where don't know these people that you served. It's just like some guy comes in and orders tacos and he leaves and he likes your tacos and you say thank you for coming in. I would imagine somebody buying multi-million-dollar properties, you probably have a good relationship with these people. You probably get to know maybe their family a little bit or get to know their interests. So what I like to do, and I think it's pretty important it's really big for like lawyers, right? Lawyers form relationships with their people, stuff like that. Even doctors, dentists, they generally get to know their people, their customers a lot. Customers or clients, whatever word you want to use. This is good. Thank you for your trust. It was a pleasure to work with you. Thanks, Nathaniel. Wish you many happy memories in your new home. This is all good. I really like that you're, let me see, responding to them. Now, you aren't responding to all of them, which is not good. So these, you need to go respond to all these, and these are, you haven't, let me step back before I go on to frequency. You need to respond to all of these. And when you respond to them, you need to be a little more, I would suggest, I hate to say need, I would suggest being more personal. And then adding, because this is, people read these reviews, and if they're going to show you actually get to know these people, at least, I mean, the metrics show this is true, and I certainly would think it's true. If I was reading through your reviews, and people read reviews, it's like the number one thing people do to research businesses is, you know, so Tommy Kim, Tommy, thanks for yourself. Hope good luck with your new job at, you know, the new Google that's being built. Well, actually, that got canceled, didn't it? Or Amazon, whatever it is, something personal. Like if you found out he's a big Mets fan or whatever, put that in there. And may not be appropriate for you, but on your website you have these different services. These are in your Google. Your info, where was it? Services. I like to cross-sell other things that I do, but it would be kind of weird for, it's not like you're selling tacos and hamburgers. You can say, oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the taco. If you ever want a good hamburger, remember we sell those too. It's a good keyword opportunity, and also helps people that are maybe considering, if you had like a taco restaurant that go, oh, they have tacos and hamburgers? Well, my wife likes hamburgers. I like tacos. Let's go there. This one, after they buy the home, there's not really much else to offer them, I don't think. But if there is something like that that you do, it's something you want to just cross-sell the things that you do in the review responses. I call it stealth promoting, and it's really effective. And then, so you need to, you're probably, if any business that asks for reviews rarely does this much time go by, almost 2.5 months of not getting a review, unless maybe you only sell one property a month. I have no idea, but let's say you sell, you know, one a week. Generally, and that frequency, I would imagine you could probably get 1 or 2 reviews a month, especially since you've built these relationships with these people. So what you want to do is send them a link, send them an email. And I got a little template down here for you that I typed up. It needs, again, this needs to be personal. What some people do is they copy and paste that says, your feedback is appreciated. Please leave a review. And it's, you know, it's really kind of ridiculous, and nobody will do it because it's auto-generated. I would do, hey name, like, hey Bob, can you help me with something real quick in the subject? And then here's the email. Then the name. Hope you're really enjoying the home, and that's something personal. Hopefully you and, you know, Jan had a good time at the Mets game or something. So you only, even if you just personalize one name here and have one sentence, the rest of this stuff doesn't have to be personalized, but it looks personalized because you spent the time adding this one sentence. And then link to the review page. Let me see if I can. Okay, now it's linked. So what does this link do? Let me make sure I got everything. I misspelled that for you. It's 2 L's, isn't it? Really? Does that look right? I think that's right. So what you don't want to just say, leave me a review. Because people will be like, okay, well, I'll do it when I get home, and that's kind of, then they never do, right? We're all busy. So in email, you send them this link. I always like to ask for a review in 2 places. I always do Google. Then the second one will be like to Facebook or to wherever you need it. Better Business Bureau, whatever. So click on it. So you send them this. Please click on the link below. And it goes to your profile. But it doesn't just stop there. It actually loads up the form where they're going to leave the review. So they don't have to go find the button that says leave a review. They don't have to go hunting stuff down. And click 5-star. Boom, done. Now, if you have a really comfortable relationship with these people, the more you can emphasize them putting certain keywords in there, if you feel comfortable with them, the more that would help you. If you're really comfortable with them and you can actually write the review for them, which is not abnormal, and you know to use the proper keywords, high-rise apartment, those keywords that I showed you from the review that highlighted, client, high quality, whatever those keywords were, good service, whatever those were. You want to include those in there. And then photos are really big, right? So you really need to focus. You need to get more reviews because you only have 35, I think it is, something like that, 34. So you need to get those up. based on that little quick audit we did, it looked like you're probably going to need to get above 50 just to kind of get going. And let's go look at your review audit. And actually, since I actually have a video on these two, how to use these, and since I did, this company actually gave me a free license to the product, which is pretty cool. If not, I think you get like 3 searches per day, which is more than enough for you. So this actually, it looks like the hockey sticks I was talking about, which is kind of artificial looking, but I think your reviews are real. So you got none. So this is probably when you didn't do anything with your profile for a long time, perhaps, and you just configured it. And I guess if these are real, that's good. It's just a signal to Google, and I can imagine that they saw this looks very artificial, but this is actually probably 1 review. This is 12, 30. Okay, so that's a pretty big jump. So the algorithm, I think, if I was designing the system, would flag it, and then a human being would come and investigate further. So if you buy reviews, if you hire these companies in Philippines or something, Google, if they have an Android phone, Google's going to know where these people have been, right? They're not in New York. So if they detect a lot of that happening, you're going to possibly get your listing removed. So you don't want to do any of that. And it's not that hard to get reviews, right? And I would only bother people twice. Send an email. You don't want to wait 2 months either, because maybe like the pipes busted or something, and you don't want people to get very angry. So obviously don't send this email to people who you're not sure are going to leave 5-star reviews. Maybe they'll leave 3, 4, or 5. Just no ones that are extremely happy. And I would be happy if I got a gigantic apartment in Soho, I'm pretty sure. Actually, maybe I wouldn't, but I digress. So that means encourage photos, let's see, send her 2 requests, help them with that's what that means. So I don't know if it's just you. You probably have an assistant, I would imagine. Maybe you have multiple assistants. Maybe you have just people underneath you. I don't know. If you can encourage them to get reviews, and for every review you get, you're going to give them a $25 Amazon gift card. I don't know the kind of money. I'm sure you're moving a lot of money, selling multi-million-dollar properties. So perhaps it would be more like multiple $100s. Whatever that is, this is the best way. This is probably the best tip for getting reviews, is encouraging people underneath you, the people that report up to you, to do the dirty work for you, and then reward them with something. That's how really effective. That's how important reviews are. So see what reviews Google thinks are most important. And if you're writing a review for these people, like I said, you can suggest actually write it for them if you feel comfortable with that. Apartment company. So these are keywords you want to focus on. Budget. Now you may, since you're doing these gigantic luxury, high-rise and stuff, you may not want to focus on budget, but you can see these are what Google thinks is important. So you might want to search for like luxury real estate, or whatever the keywords. I don't know the keywords. I mean, we could do keyword research and figure it out, but the industry words that you need to focus on. Encourage photos. Okay, that's that. That's that. So these are other observations. So these are some one-off things. These aren't necessarily SEO things. Some of them are, some of them aren't, but other things that I noticed. So local search ads is real big. We briefly discussed that, and they do work, but like I said, you got to make sure you're targeting. Like if you advertise on real estate agent New York, let's say if you show an advertisement for that, it's going to show up if somebody searches for real estate agent New York tuition. You don't want to show up for that. So that would be called a negative keyword. Don't show up if somebody puts new tuition in the search. Only show up for real estate agent, best real estate agent near me, or high-rise real estate agent hire, all these type of keywords, whatever. And if they're in the state of New York, and if they've shown interest in real estate, there's things called Google Audiences. Google has profiles of everybody that uses Chrome and stuff. They can say, okay, they're interested in baseball, they're interested in crypto, they're interested in cooking, whatever. So you want to target specific audiences, specific demographics. You know the demographics. Is it probably, I would say, educated, high income, males and females over the age of 55, or whatever it is. So you want to target all those. So the bottom line is you just need to make sure what you're doing. I have a really good, I shouldn't say, I have a good understanding of Google Ads. I'm no expert. You could hire an ad agency for multiple $1,000s per month to do it, but just how much money do you want to spend, and is it really worth it to spend that much money? If you need help with it, if you need help with any of this stuff, let me know. If you just have questions, I'm happy to answer questions for free from here, next week, next month, next year. But if you need help doing it, we can talk about that. Okay, so above the fold basically means anything above. Let me see. We're committed to uploading principles, fair housing laws. Okay. above here, above the bottom of the screen, right? So this is below the fold, below the fold, below the fold. This is all above the fold. You want to have your call to action, a button here that says contact me now, or free consultation now, or connect with me on video now. And I can imagine the video, the remote, I would emphasize remote connectivity, remote consultations, especially with this COVID stuff going on. And it's not going away anytime soon. No matter how maybe you don't think it's serious, or I'm not saying that in a condescending way, but perhaps you have accented, you don't think it's serious, like as serious. There's some people that think it's, very serious. And you may not think you need to do remote video consultation, but they think it's important, right? And that's a keyword people are searching on. Real estate video consultation, right? Or whatever the keyword is. That's something I would put there. So you want to put that call to action here above the fold. And then use the proper H1s and H2s with the keywords on your webpage, which you're not doing a lot of keywording at all. You're basically focusing on pictures, which is good. I mean, you have New York real estate here, which is good, but it's not. I would make that an H1, and I don't think it is. Your H1 is Gavin Hammond, I believe. Where did my... Okay, I'm going to pause it real quick. Okay, I'm back. I was actually staring right at it. The SEO Quake, you can go click on that, which is right here, SEO Quake. Go to diagnosis. Whoops. No, that's right. And then go to headings. You can see your H1 is Gavin Hammond. The H1 needs to be more of like New York. It could be Gavin Hammond, New York real estate agent. So you need to put those keywords in there. And here's all your others. So these aren't, some of these are good. Buying a home's good. Neighborhoods is good. Some of these aren't good. Now they don't have to be perfect, and this is just not good. I'm not sure what all that is. A lot of gobbledygook, I guess is the proper word. You have a lot of messiness. I'm not sure where all that's coming from, but you want to get all into that. It's kind of messy. So any awards, memberships, or certifications you have, that's the kind of stuff that you want to emphasize. Now, you can't fit everything above the fold, so down here, right? That's the stuff that's the stuff, or maybe underneath here, whatever, but it needs to be on here. Like certifications, you probably want awards. I shouldn't say probably, perhaps you've won awards. That's the kind of stuff you need to put on your homepage. From a human point of view, but also from a Google point, I should say an algorithm point of view. It's going to help Google understand that you've won awards, so you must be a legitimate person. So backlinks. So backlinks, as I briefly discussed, are really important. There's something called EAT, E-A-T, which is expertise, authority, trust. Google it displays, one of its factors is displaying results from known experts that are authoritative and that Google trusts and people trust. So this is a good example of you gaining trust because, whoops, now I don't remember. Okay, here we go. Real estate agent. This is on an outside link, so MPA Mag, which is, I'm assuming is a legitimate magazine. And if you go here, I can see your name. So this is helping Google understand. It sees your name here, Gavin Hammond. I'm sorry. That's, you're building up the profile of an expert because other places are mentioning you. The only thing I would do here that you didn't do, and maybe you couldn't do, is ask them if they could link back to your webpage. This would be an easy backlinking opportunity. So down here, and then if they could, and you didn't write the article, so say have an author profile. But anytime you write a post on your blog, at the bottom you need to have an author profile at the bottom. So Google's going to start associating you with expertise on all these real estate topics. That's what that means. So these are all good, easy ways to get back, not easy, effective ways to get backlinks. Teach classes at a trade school, trade organizations, Chamber of Commerce, Better Business Bureau, donations, be on podcasts. I mean, your people respect you because you're mentioned in this magazine, right? Now, there's probably real estate podcasts and all this stuff. They're always looking, I can't specifically say real estate, but people that have podcasts, especially ones that are starting out, are always looking for content ideas, right? And I think it would be interesting to hear about luxury properties. I think these are luxury properties. I would consider them luxury properties in New York. And you may have your own little trade secrets, your own processes. So you reach out to them, kind of go over why you think you would be interested, why you think the audience would find you interesting, and see if you can get it. Just create a template like you did with the customer review email. Keep it all generic. except one little blurb where it's specific. Local blogs, food drives, local business networking, Haro. So this is Haro's help a reporter out. If you help a reporter with an article, they can get a backlink to you. So just go to that website, you sign up, it'll send you free emails. So Screaming Frog is a site scanner. One thing you're not doing in my mind effectively is your titles of your pages are kind of, so on your homepage, Gavin Hammond, New York real estate agent is good. That your name, New York, geo keyword, what you do, real estate agent is good. And I know this is small. I don't know how to increase the font size. So this past transaction, this should be past real estate transactions. I think I have some example links. So the only way to do this is you just have to go through them one by one. Unfortunately, there's no easy way. Thankfully, your web page doesn't have hundreds and thousands of pages. HTML, you have 80, which is no big deal. And a lot of this is search stuff, so you can weed this stuff out. Brooklyn Heights. Let me go to page titles, actually. Okay, this is one that I think this is a link at Gramercy. So Gramercy is an area in New York, I'm assuming a neighborhood or something. But what does Gramercy mean? Welcome to, but what is, this should be real estate in Gramercy, or whatever it is, something like that. I'd have to think through it. So I think that's actually what this might be, if I remember correctly. Oh, home valuation. I went over this. What does this mean, right? I mean, once I get here, I can see it. And it may make perfect sense to you. I don't know. I mean, I get it now that I clicked on it, but I didn't know if it was a process or what it was. So let's go to this one. I think this might be the Gramercy one. Oh, this is just showing your titles. Like, okay, Campus Concierge, Compass Concierge, I went over that before. So testimonials, you could, neighborhoods, so real estate, New York neighborhoods, then dash real estate property listings or something like that. Collections, what kind of collections? Real estate bridge loan services. I'm assuming, is it possible, are bridge loans only in real estate, or are they other places? So, but the more specific, the better is the point. Unfortunately, you just have to go through each one of them, and that could take months and months and months, but it's something that I would do. What keywords are people searching on? So, okay, that's the one I mentioned earlier, actually. So, what are some keywords? This is where I gave the horrible example of landscape. So obviously that doesn't make any sense, but you need to think of, so like if, let's say, let me go back to my tacos example. If you were creating a page on tacos, what are people searching on? They're searching on pork tacos, beef tacos. You just don't want to say we have the best tacos in town. You want to specifically mention beef tacos, pork tacos, chicken tacos, veggie tacos. Then also you also do your toppings, guacamole, cheese, etc., etc. That's what that means. So moving along, page 5 of 8. These, you can see these a lot quicker. Anytime you're focusing on a keyword, the higher up the better is what that means. And use that keyword in the title, image, alt tags, etc. And then use that keyword 1 to 2% of the time. So if you use the keyword 10% of the time, Google's going to know you're trying to stuff it into the page because it's not natural. Okay, so this was all of your geo pages in Google My Business. So I did find Gramercy here, but, and I might have said this earlier, I've been going on for an hour and 20. In your service areas, if you're going to have a landing page for Gramercy, you need to have Gramercy, unless it's a neighborhood, and it's not like an actual, right, is it Gramercy Park? If it's something you can put here, you can put here. Now, you can also just do zip codes, right? I mean, you could just do New York. But if you're not doing Buffalo, you wouldn't want to do that. So that just needs to be thought out a little more. This is something that really helps doctors, real estate agents, lawyers, plumbers, lawnmower services, all of them. If I go to your website, why would I choose you? So if I go to your competitors, I looked at a few of your competitors, I see yours, and it's a bunch of buildings, and I have a picture of you, and you're very educated, and it's got a couple, these are really cool pictures, and I go to your competitor. What it's going to show me is a lot of buildings, very educated, a lot of pictures of insides, good properties, and it's a very done web page. But there's got to be something that makes you unique and different. There's got to be there's got to be something you do that other people don't do. I would have 100% have a why me section up here, and you want to cover why you're unique. Because it's not, a lot of companies focus on about.
Like plumbers, they focus on, you know, we repair pipes and we do bathrooms and stuff. But why? Why would I want to choose it? Just 24-hour service? Is it, you know, do the first one, next time you have a problem, it's 25% off? Like, what makes you different? Or family business, et cetera, et cetera. It's really important. Okay, so this is stuff I found. Are the one, if this is accurate, I will buy this, but I doubt that it is. Well, clearly it's not accurate. So if you go here, and these properties are $1 listings. Now this may be for, I don't know, some, you know, $1 down, then you have to, whatever it is. I think they're just, maybe you want to hide them or something. So just go look at these and get these resolved. If they're not $1 properties, which clearly this wouldn't be a $1 property, but it might be there for a reason I can't even think of. You want to go get these fixed. Get these resolved. Get that resolved, I should say. Another thing is when I'm on that page, I think this is the same result. I don't see how to, when I get to the bottom, so lowest price. Also, there's services called UserBob and Inspectlet. You can get people, you can see people using your website. UserBob costs money. You get humans to review your website. It's a whole thing. $20 per 20 sessions. They're $1 each. You can do that. I love it. I do it once a month. Inspectlet is free for 50 sessions a day, and it actually records people using your website. So perhaps this is something you might have seen. They might have been coming down here, looking at these properties, and you can see when you get to the bottom, it loads, and I'm waiting, and it stopped loading. Okay, that loaded. Actually, it didn't load this quickly before, but I still don't like this. I don't like these never-ending things. Because I mean, when I did this before, it stopped loading. I sat here for about 15 seconds. So you can see it's doing it now. I would paginate these. I would list 10 of them, then have a link that says page 2, page 3. Because even if, like, I'm hyper-clicking hyper down scrolling. So if somebody just went here and it ends, they might not keep scrolling down like I'm doing and wait for it to load. Like, you might be able to hear it. So they might do here, and it gets to the end, and they go, okay, that's it. And then they don't do any more. So that's something I would do page 1, page 2, page 3. I don't like, that's infinite scrolling is what that is called. I don't like it, and I know most people don't like it. Okay, so one thing that I like when I was looking for that, I'll tell you about that cabin that I was looking for. If you go to like Trulia or what's the other one? I can't think of it right now. In their listings, they have crime maps, they have schools close, they have street views. Is that something you could implement on your property listings? That's something I would consider. I think that's really, it helps me. It helped me understand, okay, I love looking at the Google Streets because the house that I like, it's a cabin. It's really old. So if you're looking at it, a lot of these you can't tell by looking at them what type of neighborhood they're in. Then when I do the Google Street View, I look to the left and the right, and I'm like, okay, it looks like it's on, you know, like a pond or a swamp or whatever. But once you look left and right, it's just not really that, and it's a really rundown neighborhood. So that's the kind of stuff. I would just go look at what Trulia does and see if you can implement those features. Giving away a free ebook is a really good thing. So top 10 things to know before hiring a real estate agent. You don't want to write that, right? So just Google it, find out what other people are doing, create it, and put it in your own book. Hire somebody for $50 to compile it for you, give it away. That's a good way to get people on your mailing list. Bonuses for referrals is always effective. If you can get people to refer people to you, you'll pay their rent for their 10% of their rent for a month or whatever. You know, I'm not sure how that plays out. Schema, whatever schema. Make sure you set up Google Alerts. So Google Alerts is basically anytime you just Google for Google Alerts. Anytime somebody, let me just, since I got this up, Google Alerts. Anytime your company name or your name is mentioned newly on the web. I don't know if that's even a word, newly. Anytime it's mentioned, so let's say I was following the Boston Red Sox. You're going to get an email once a day that's going to show you all these new places that it found Boston Red Sox on blogs, on news sites, or however you want to configure it. And then you just want to make sure if you're being mentioned on the web, you want to know where you're being mentioned on the web. If it's positive, that's good. If it's negative, obviously that's not good. But once you see it, is it a place you could reach out to the website owner? Hey, thanks for mentioning me. That's really kind. Would you mind linking back to my website? That would be. I'd really appreciate that, right? So that's something. It's and again, takes 10 seconds to set up, so there's no reason not to do it. It's something I would do immediately.
monitor website with Uptime Robot. So uptimerobot.com. Just go for free. Again, another free tool. Set it up. Have it monitor your website. It's going to send a ping, not a ping, something more specific than a ping. It's going to check a port, but that's getting kind of technical. Port 443. It's going to check it, and if it's down, you're going to email or a text alert that your website's down. Because why this is SEO related is your website might be going down in the middle of the night and you don't know it because somebody's doing maintenance on it, or maybe your hosting provider is not any good and you don't know it. If that's the case and Googlebot comes and tries to index your site when it's down, Google's going to start ranking you lower because your website's not reliable. So it's totally free. It's one of those things, again, that take about 5 minutes to set up. These are real clickbaity things for real estate agencies, real estate agents/agencies, mortgage payment calculators, mortgage calculators. It's the same thing. FHA, Fair Housing Act, I guess that is. Best mortgage calculator. It's kind of, I don't know why I put that in there. I just copy and pasted a lot of keywords, to be honest with you. Home loan calculator, real estate calculator. Now, those are all kind of the same. I should have looked at those keywords in more detail before I posted those, because those are all the kind of same things. But can you give away templates, checklists? These are the kind of things like 50 thing or 10 things or 15 things to know before buying a home. These are the very clickbaity things that are going to get people to your website. And you might think, well, if they know all this stuff, they're not going to need to hire me. What happens more often than not is people will get how to write, here's a template for how to buy a home without hiring a real estate agent. They'll get it from you. And at a minimum, it's more traffic to your website, and the more traffic you get leads to more traffic, right? And the more that you get, the higher you're going to show up in the Google search results. But what a lot of people find out is they try to do it on their own, and it's just way too complex. And it's very possible they'll go back to you. That's really how you do it. Live chat's really big. It's something I would consider implementing, and you don't have to be in front of your laptop all day. It can go to a phone. At a minimum, if you're not there, it'll just say, I'm not available. Send me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. You just want to give, because a lot of people don't even consider it. I mean, obviously, well, I shouldn't say you probably don't have social anxiety because of the business you're in. A lot of people have social anxiety. A lot of people just don't want to talk to a pushy salesman on the phone. Not saying you're pushy, but people, that in people's minds, they don't want to talk to a salesperson on the phone. So, like, I would rather chat. I would rather email and get my initial questions answered. So that's another way for people to get a hold of you. So this is the monthly plan that I talked about. Let me go. I'm sending this to you. Oh, that real quick. Screaming Frog, your page titles. It also has your meta descriptions here. You don't have meta descriptions for all of them. So that's something you can consider. If you don't have a meta description, Google's going to put it there for you. That's the blurb that appears under the page title in the Google search results. Another thing is these large images. This spiders your entire site, not just your home page, to find where you have large images. Let me make sure I export this too. I don't think I did this one yet. Let me make sure. Okay, I did do it. These are very large images. 540. You want to get, you can get most of them to like 150 or less. So you need to get these, at a minimum, get the ones that are over 250. So what are you talking about? Well, you have a lot, actually. Even if you get the ones that are over 3. So we're talking 12 images. Just go and optimize all those. And re-upload them. And you can actually connect Google Analytics, and you can connect Google Search Console. And if you have pages that are not getting any traffic, you want to prune those pages, because Google looks at your entire site when it's determining to rank you higher or not. Now, you don't have a lot of pages, but if you did and they're not getting traffic, you just want to prune those. You don't want to have a bunch of nonsense on your website that nobody's reading, because it makes your site a lower quality website. Okay, so the monthly plan. So I'm sending this to you, sending you a few things. This is my monthly plan. This is basically what I do. This is what I do. It takes about 6 months, sometimes a little less. This is month 1. These are the steps that I do. Right? So this is something you can do it on your own. I can help you with it if you want. You can hire somebody else if you want to do. But this is the plan that I use with my clients. I'm not hiding anything. Now, it never takes 4 months. I shouldn't say never. Rarely does it take 4 months, because every client, every website has their own little specific things. And then even if it, let's say magically you had only these things, there's always going to be things that aren't done in time. So it's going to take month 5, month 6, and these are ongoing things. And this is I'm really just documenting, because I'm trying to scale my business a lot, bring other people in, and I'm sick of just not sick. It's very time consuming to keep explaining word of mouth how to do things. So I'm really trying to document my processes. So this is what I do. This is what I do. I'm also sending you a bunch of other stuff. This is again, this is a draft process this is how I did that process basically for finding good content to write about, and it's not optimized, and you're going to find a lot of typos, probably a lot of notes to myself where I need to finish stuff up. But this kind of just goes through the whole process of how I find content to write about and how do I qualify it to see if it's something I can have a decent chance of ranking for. This is a good thing to read, the quality rater guidelines. These are the actual Google guidelines for their search engine evaluators, people they contract to go look at the quality of the search results. So if you have time, read through this, because this is what Google is actually looking for quality search results. Okay, this is good Google Ads stuff, how to use Google Ads, machine learning. Google's going all machine learning, so that's good. Okay, this is, something you learn as a freshman in college or business school or whatever. All this stuff I'm going over. It's totally crazy, and I get that, and it's a lot of stuff to do. So when I'm working with clients, what I do is we get this out, and it's very elementary, but it's very helpful. Let's just go low benefit, high difficulty. High difficulty, so none of these are difficult. So it would be, let's see, low benefit, time consuming. That's what I would do here, and just split them up, and then we'll go through and order them, right? So this is really how you do it. And then make sure you track everything. So I have this spreadsheet here. Now there's tools you can pay $30 a month for that tracks all this stuff, but I don't like paying for stuff that is pretty much a waste of money. This is a spreadsheet. You can track stuff. You don't want to track every week. You don't want to obsess over are my rankings going up and down week to week. You want to really look at it in multiple month increments. I look at it at 3 to 4 month increments. Well, I should say I look at it month to month. I track it month to month, but I don't take any action if things aren't trending. Will trend down for 2 months because they're going to come back up. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. So this is what you want to track. So the month, what's my similar web ranking? What's my Alexa ranking? How many users is Google Analytics saying I'm getting this month? How many sessions? This is Google search results. How many times am I showing up in the Google search results? How many times are people clicking on me in the Google search results? Then over here, and if you click on it, it goes exactly to where it needs to go. So Bing clicks. How many clicks am I getting from Bing? Domain authority, is my domain authority increasing? Major trust flow, all this stuff. How much does this tool think my website is worth? $100, $300, $8,000, $80,000. Now, of course, your website's not worth that, but you want that algorithm to see if it, whatever metric it's using, if it's increasing in value. And this is for Google My Business. How many people have clicked on directions to my business from Google My Business? Discovery searches, web visits from Google My Business, phone calls, how many people have clicked on it to call me, etc., etc. Then track the main keywords you're using. So SERP rank 1 could be New York real estate agent. Now that's going to be very hard to rank for that. So I would probably focus more on Soho real estate agent and see what people are searching on. It doesn't hurt to track this, but my guess is it's going to be, not my guess, it's going to be significantly harder to rank on that than it would the more niche ones. So I think we are through hour and 42 minutes. Here's the template, email template. And the review is certainly appreciated. If there's something if you're considering leaving a pretty negative review, I would just ask you allow me to answer any questions before doing so. I mean, if you're going to leave it, you're going to leave it, and there's nothing I can do about that. But I enjoy doing these, and hopefully you can sense that I take a lot of time in it, put a lot of effort into it, and I would appreciate a review. And then kind of like I ask you to ask clients to be a little more specific in the reviews. If you wouldn't mind highlighting a few things you liked in the review. If you don't have time for that, just a review even just a rating is helpful, assuming you're satisfied. I wouldn't want you to do it if you're not satisfied, but you certainly can do that. So hopefully this has helped you. I'm here for questions. If you want to work out something on some of the me helping with stuff, we can do that. And stay safe with all the coronavirus stuff. And I think that's it. Scroll down just to be sure. And it is. And you're getting all the documents I showed you in a zip file attached to the gig. So review is appreciated before you get too busy. And let me know if you have any questions. Take it easy.